Hello. Today I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about autoimmune diseases. Now it's kind of weird with EMDR, but then not really. I've noticed that lately I'm having a flare-up. I have something called Hashimoto's, and it affects your thyroid. So it's like it goes back and forth between. I go back and forth between hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, and I believe that my Hashimoto's is directly a symptom effect of trauma. Once I started to kind of understand a little bit more of what happens when I have, when I say flare up, I mean basically where all of the symptoms are at their max of this disease. So basically if I'm in hyperthyroidism mode, I often am I'm pretty go, work. I have kind of insomnia. There's my stress. Everything is kind of almost manic, actually. It kind of a little bit mimics that. And I often will lose weight, which doesn't help too. It's kind of coupled a little bit with my eating issues and stuff like that. But yeah, all of the symptoms, if you look it up, I fall right in both spectrums. I'm kind of like a clear-cut case of Hashi's. So, and then when I go into hypothyroidism, everything slows down. It's almost like a crash. I'll gain weight, or just I'm not as motivated. I almost get depressed. It's hard. I get clouded thinking. It's harder to think and focus. And I've, with the help of my cousin who's a nurse, I've been able to really kind of get a hold of that with the certain foods that I'm eating or avoiding. So the reason I'm telling you this, or kind of bringing this up, is I just truly believe that this is a direct symptom of trauma. It's like that flight or fight response, right? So we go in with PTSD, when you have trauma, you either are going to react in a way of kind of shutdown mode, or which is kind of the flight, I guess, or fighting. There's kind of and of course it's a spectrum of things, but I think that has a real direct effect on our bodies as well. And so I know that for myself, having that trauma, my body learned to respond that way, but forever, for years, I would respond to trauma, even if trauma wasn't happening, after the fact, if I was triggered, because if you've had trauma, you understand that with PTSD, you think that it's happening all the time. So your body and your responses just immediately go into flight or fight mode. So your body is impacted by this. And so that's truly why I think that this Hashimoto's is a body response to my PTSD and then having an autoimmune disease. So I know, I think that this is reversible though. So I'm kind of in a flare-up right now. I've kind of gone from some stressful stuff, and I have to watch stress is what I have to understand that stress is not, that I have to balance my stress really, because if I go too far, then it can get dangerous, and then I get into a flare-up mode. So right now, I'm trying to make sure I avoid certain foods and really just try to find a good healthy balance in a routine. But I guess the reason I'm talking about this though is I'm just curious as far as what others experience, and if you've found any other links to your trauma other than just you know, the PTSD and the mental health issues perhaps. But if you also experience something like along these lines, like with an autoimmune disease or something else. But I think there's real significance in that. And I really do think that it can be reversed with the proper awareness, care, and the tools, you know, to kind of healing that. And that's where I think that EMDR for me has been really effective. So my hope is that through continuing EMDR that I will be able to also reverse my Hashis as well, that my body will soon understand that it's not under attack, that I'm not under attack, and that my body response will link more with my brain response and understanding that I'm not in danger anymore. Yeah. So those are my thoughts for today. Would love to hear from you. And I'm sorry, I have been so busy lately, which has been really good because if you know, it's been really hard for artists and musicians. So I've been really busy, but I promise I am going to be responding to your comments soon. And yeah, I would still love to hear from you, and please like, share, and subscribe. Take care.